Well, new developments today in the terror threat overseas. France's foreign ministry now warning travelers that they face a high risk of attack while in the United Kingdom. The French asking people to use extreme vigilance when taking buses and subways there and when visiting British tourist attractions. The UK has already warned travelers to Germany and France of a high terror threat, and the US issued an alert for all Americans traveling in Europe. And from America's election headquarters off to the campaign trail now, West Virginia could be sending a dramatic message to the nation and the White House. The latest Fox News poll showing Republican John Racy with a 5-point lead over his Democratic challenger, who's the Democratic Governor Joe Manchin, in the Senate race. It's basically they're both vying for this open seat, putting a seat that was once thought to be safe territory for Democrats in jeopardy. 66% of West Virginia voters give Manchin high job approval. Look at this. They love him there. So what's the deal? Well, the thinking is Manchin trailing Racy? Maybe because the voters are unhappy with President Obama. Richard Socarides is the former special assistant to President Clinton and a Democratic strategist. All right, Richard, so that is so telling. They love him. So, I mean, 66% in today's day and age is not so bad for an approval rating.
Those are great numbers.
Right?
Yeah,
and yet it looks, and the other guy's beating him.
Yeah.
Why?
This is such an interesting race. This is maybe one of the most interesting races in the country because it's so representative of what's happening everywhere, or what may be happening everywhere, what looks like it's happening in a lot of places. I mean, this guy, the governor Manchin, is a very popular social conservative governor. The Democrats may really actually have kind of outsmarted themselves on this, because remember, this was the Robert Byrd seat, and the thinking was they could wait till 2012 to have to run in this seat, but the legislature moved, when after Senator Byrd died, the legislature moved the election up because they thought Manchin could get in there, they'd have the seat.
Right.
But now they're outsmarting themselves because Racy is tying Manchin to Obama. It's all about Obama, and there's this ad, I don't know if you're going to show it, but there's this ad which is an absolutely devastating ad. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a brilliant piece of political advertising that Racy's got on the air now. They've got a big buy. I think it's $1.7 million, which is a huge amount in West Virginia, which is a small media market, which just ties Manchin to Obama. Now, Manchin is coming back and he's saying, look, he said, I'm an independent guy. His spokespeople are saying, he's got this independent streak, Megyn. He's got a very...
they all do
he's
suddenly,
got a historical
Richard.
independent streak.
This year, all the Democrats do.
You've got an independent streak, too, I think.
We've all got an independent streak.
Me too. But, he supported Manchin, the Democrat, supported by the NRA, supported by the Chamber of Commerce. But he is in a very, very tough race. And this, this is kind of the way this race goes, may be a sign. If the Democrats lose this race, they're in for a very bad night. Manchin was ahead up until about 7-8 days ago. Now you see polling like this. This is, in fact, the poll that shows him the most behind.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of, what the effect is in tying him to President Obama. Look, we asked about that. We asked people, what is your vote going to reflect when you go into the polling booth? Look at this. 20% say that it's going to reflect their support of the Obama administration policies. 60% say that they plan to express their opposition to President Obama's policies in there. So it's like they like the man. They like Manchin. Right. But they don't like President Obama's policies.
Now, Racy, I don't know the man. He may be a fine man, but this is the 4th time he's run statewide. I mean, anybody who runs 4 times statewide, I mean, you sort of get the impression that this guy, can't win, right? I mean, in no other year has he been able to win.
And sometimes you get tarred with that, sort of brush as a loser, which doesn't help.
This year he's ahead in the polls. Now, it may turn. We may see this may be a little spurt, for some of these people.
But you mentioned how this may be sort of a national, harbinger of things to come. Right. And you look around, Karl Rove was talking about this on Fox last night, saying that he said not a single Democrat is running on passage of the stimulus. Not a single Democrat is running on passage in the House of the cap and trade bill. Right. He said all but 2 Democrats are avoiding running on their vote in favor of the health care reform.
Right, and in fact, Manchin here says that he would not, now he says that he would not have voted for health care.
Yeah, well, so whereas on the other side, you've got many Democrats who are touting that they didn't oppose, or that they opposed it, or they want to repeal it, or they don't want to change it. So my question to you is, what are they running on? Well, that's basically all that's been passed while President Obama's been the president.
That's the major question. I mean, that's why the only way Obama can turn this around now is if he refocuses and starts back in on his message. I mean, his main problem is he ran 2 years ago. The Democrats ran on a message of change, that they were going to change the way Washington does business, and they came in and they did business exactly the same way. Now they have to go back to the voters, I think, and say, okay, we made some mistakes, but what we really are is about taking the government back, not doing business anymore with the lobbyists, changing the way Washington works, and putting working people first. Now,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. To what extent is this a reflection, these numbers, that 60%, a reflection of President Obama's willful deaf ear to the will of the people, in particular when it comes to health care and when it came to, well, the bailout of the auto industry and also immigration? Because you saw all the polls against him on challenging that Arizona immigration line, yet he went ahead and did it. The polls were against and still remain against him on health care and so on. And, his response and Nancy Pelosi's response was, you got to do what's right. And then President Obama said, that's what elections are for.
Right.
And now the American people, to what extent are they getting ready to say, that's right, that's what elections are for?
Well, I think, fundamentally they have definitely miscalculated, but they would say that they've miscalculated in a political sense and in a communication sense, but they have not miscalculated on policy. I mean, the truth is that people do believe that the healthcare system was broken. They do want a different kind of healthcare system. People do believe that Washington needs to do business differently. People do believe that we need to take the government back from the banks. This is traditionally what Democrats stand for, spreading, a better distribution of wealth. But right now, the Republicans have outsmarted them and have stolen the narrative. Now the challenge for the Democrats now is to take it back, and we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting.
Less than 4 weeks.
We'll know 4 weeks from. We'll be sitting here in 4 weeks, and we'll know.
We'll be chit-chatting about it again, Richard.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure. Richard Socarides, everybody.